all save the chat at the end and have each other's contact information. All right. Allison, are you ready?
I'm so ready. Hello, and thank you for having me, Tiffany. This is amazing. And you're right, I am already blown away by the greatness of the people in here. And I just can't help but think like collaboratively, like the difference everybody's making in the world. So blown away. My name is Allison Larson, and I'm the founder of Soul Intuition and also the Speakers Coalition. And what I do is help people tap into their intuition, be able to move forward. Along with my fiance now, we run a program called Legendary. So we help people to be able to step into the best version of themselves. And that was a lot of live events. In fact, we were actually in Nepal when the coronavirus hit. Now it's some online events, but we are going on our very first spiritual adventure retreat next month to the Dominican Republic. And fun fact, that is where I'm going to get married. So just got engaged. Super excited, and really excited to be here with you all today.
All right. Man, you all are nailing it on the time. I love it. All right. 1 second, just checking. Okay. Yeah, Grace, so you just hopped on. So what we're doing is we're doing a 1-minute intro just to tell who we are, kind of what's our passion in the world, and a fun fact.
Awesome. Well, my name is Grace, and I'm a program manager for Foster Together, and we work with families and foster care and adopted families and reunified families and everything like that, and provide them support through neighbors in their community. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is building community and creating connections with people. And we are really enjoying the work that we're doing here in Colorado. And fun fact, we have now expanded to over 13 states. So we're really excited about that. And I guess personally, a fun fact is that I get to spend this weekend with all 3 of my siblings, which hasn't happened in over a year. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. And I'll just give a little tidbit too on Foster Together and my connection with Grace. I actually am one of the foster homes that they provided to foster neighbors to help me out when my spouse was deployed in dealing with trauma and food and all sorts of just connection in general during those times. And one of those folks, my daughter now calls her sister. So just showing some more amazingness, personal touches there of what's going on. And you can see that we're all across the country. And so you might be wondering, some of us are in Colorado, so you might be wondering, how do we all fit together? I'm really trying to create expertise where at minimum, very minimum, we can do workshops together. And it may include me, it may include some of you that don't include me, it may include all of us at one time. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. So I look forward to having your all's energy to help figure out what that future synergy is going to look like. I'll just do a quick intro on myself. I'm Dr. Tiffany Noelle Brown. I have my doctorate in medical sociology. And what in the is medical sociology? What in the world does that person do? Well, really what I do is utilize my science background to make medical, holistic, quality of life research make sense and personalized to individuals. And so what I'm really trying to build is inclusion of thought, inclusion of modalities, and recognizing someone's value system and getting them to heal. I'm embedded in the trauma world, being a foster adopt parent. I'm embedded in the TBI world, being someone who is overcoming a brain injury. And so that's where I am trying to go with the work that I'm doing. A fun fact about me, I have a cat named Nibbles, but she's not the cat that actually nibbles. Nellie is the cat that nibbles. So fun fact there. All right, so before we go any further, did everybody get their information in? Do we need to pause for a second to get your information into the chat? We're all good? Good. Okay. Any questions anyone has for anyone else in here real quickly? I'm sure we'll come up with more as we go.
September,
So-
where are you in Colorado?
I'm in Colorado. Yeah. I'm
No,
between.
September.
Oh, sorry.
I knew you were. I just wasn't sure
Yeah,
about September.
sorry.
Yeah.
Misheard.
That's okay. Oh, she's muted.
Muted.
The conference was based in Colorado Springs.
Okay, and is that where you are as well?
I'm not anymore, no.
And so where are you? I missed that when you were doing the intro.
I I live in hiding right now. I have a stalker, so nobody knows.
Fair enough. That's why I missed it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But one of the things that September and I have talked about, which also relates to the different things going on here, is how can that spread? How can that message of what she was already incredibly successful at spread? And does anyone else have any other questions? We're all good?
All good.
Okay, awesome. So what the next kind of stage looks like is us really getting to play a game with each other. And Karen is going to be one of the judges, really giving us some micro distinctions and feedback, and so is Joe. They both are exposed to the UNBLINDED movement, which is who is allowing us to host this event. So they both have some background and can be an extra set of eyes and ears so that we can all try to improve on things. So this is just like a practice ground. And then Liba is actually going to be one of the role players. So we may switch off, and I may find it that it's easier for me to keep track of time or some of the other things while you role play with her, unless there's, because you know me or something, you'd rather role play with me, and that's perfectly fine too. And then the rest of you are going to be our contestants in our pseudo influence game to help each other be able to influence more succinctly. And for that round, it's 3 minutes. 3 minutes each, and then we will do like a pause to try to give some micro distinctions in between. And hopefully we'll get Fernando or Sean to pop back on to help with this part. Oh, you're muted. Fernando's on. Oh, you're still muted, Fernando.
Well, hello.
There you go.
I've been totally present with all of you. I love the shares. I love the beautiful names. We have like Together. I've never seen that in a name. September is beautiful. We got Liba and Joe and other fine folks, you know. There's like 80 people on a pirate ship. So thank you, you know, Tiffany, for your beautiful energy. I love the quick pause to get everyone's info in the chat. So I'm here. I am present. Keep driving, and I'm here to jump in between the judges.
Excellent. Thanks, Fernando.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
All right, who's gonna be the first, not victim, the first on the pedestal to show off your influence?
Melissa has the biggest smile, so you know what? Let's just like go ahead and direct Melissa. You are up. She's like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So,
Yep.
Tiffany, Noelle, Brown, do you want to kind of run through what that looks like, or would you like me to step in?
I can run through, and if I missed anything, let me know.
Oh,
So
please.
basically, you're going to introduce yourself and then try to get Liba. You're going to tell her what situation, you're kind of give her a background of the situation really briefly, and then you're going to try to get her to say yes in 3 minutes.
Okay.
All right, so what's the situation?
The situation is, Leva, you are struggling with gut health issues. You have discomfort when you eat. It's getting to the point where you can't eat very many things. It's hard to go out and with friends and eat because you never know what the food options are going to be, and it's just impacting your life, and you've tried to get answers and you can't.
Cool. That worked.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I actually just started taking Fit Biotics. If you ever heard of it.
Sorry, you cut out there a bit.
I actually just started taking Fit Biotics. It's
Oh,
performance
okay.
probiotics.
Awesome. And you were referred to me by Tiffany. Let's just do
Awesome.
it that way. Sound good?
Perfect.
Awesome. So, hi, Liba. I'm really looking forward to just spending a few minutes today getting to know you a little bit more. Tiffany referred you to me, and I'd like to understand from you what you're struggling with right now in just a few sentences.
So my biggest struggle is, thank you so much for speaking. And my biggest struggle is I do a lot of sports and I work out a lot, and having problems. It's hard a lot of times to calculate what to eat, not knowing where I'm going to be on a course, if I'm biking or running, and not knowing like how my stomach's going to feel, how I'm going to feel, and what kind of energy it's going to give me.
Okay. And when you are eating, do you have specific symptoms that you notice afterwards? Like, is your gut heavy and crampy, bloating, gas, anything like that?
I actually stopped eating dairy for a long time because I
Mhm.
found it was really not, it wasn't good for me. And when I went back to dairy, because I missed it, I started getting like a lot of bloating, and I just always felt full, but not really full. It was like a fake kind of fullness. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Right. And this is something that's so common in people today. And it may have been that you could eat dairy as a child, but your body is struggling to eat it now because your gut is out of balance. And this is very common from a lifetime of eating and toxins that we're overwhelmed with. And we're not taught how to care for our gut and how important it is to look after it and remove those toxins and bring it back into balance. And something that's kind of gross that most people don't like to talk about, but I do, I just want to ask you what your bowel movements are like.
So it depends what I eat. If I eat dairy, then it's like a free flow. But if I don't, I'm much more able to control myself. And that's kind of what led me to stop eating dairy, because I started working out so much and running a lot and racing a lot and not knowing if there were places to go to the bathroom along the way.
Right. So it really impacts your life. And what I'm wondering is if it's something that you would like to know more about from the scientific point of view by doing a lab test to see exactly what foods your body can and can't tolerate. We can also do a lab test that looks at what's going on inside your gut. Maybe there's bacterial overgrowth. Maybe there's parasites that are impacting you. And once we know that, I'll create a personalized wellness program to help you heal fully. Is that something you'd like to know more about?
Yes, that's actually really interesting. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to set up another time where we can do a full intake in order to start that process.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Liba.
Awesome. Yeah, no, what great role playing there. Libby, you did a great job being that
You
person,
did.
being that client. That's awesome. Melissa, thank you for bringing your knowledge and energy. I really appreciate that. It's really clear that that you are clear about what kinds of things you can offer, especially up front to someone. So that's great. All right, Joe, I'm going to have you go first and give some feedback.
Well, Melissa, it's obvious that you are very certain on what you do, that you could help Liba. You honed in right on asking her the right questions about her pain points. I find a lot of times when I'm working with clients to dig a little bit deeper on like who they are and like her love of sports, and to ask her a little bit more about like how is that impacting your quality of life, and actually have her, like you just assumed when you were talking to her that, well, that's obviously impacting your life, but actually get her to talk more about it. I know it's really hard when you're just doing this role play, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get it all in 3 minutes. So I get it. It's kind of fake, but I think you did a great job. And like I just said, just get them talking a little bit more and ask a few more questions, because then it'll give you a little bit more fodder when you're actually going in for the yes, to say, well, I can make it so you can go on that bike trail and not have to worry about where the next bathroom stop is.
Right.
And things like that.
Right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. I know that you two are in a similar way of trying to help people. So having Joe practice in this other formula model I think, has been really eye-opening to even figure out what those pain points are of folks and trying to draw those out quickly so that you're not wasting your time to see if they're a good fit for you. That's great. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah,
all right,
totally.
Karen.
Yeah, I think also a great job, Melissa, and you just went in for a zinger with the bowel, and Leva, you didn't flinch. I mean, it was really great, especially, we've just met each other. But I agree with Joe too. Like I felt like you went in to teach a lot, in education. It's clear you're very confident, and I think you come across like that, and very competent too. But Leva said a couple times, like, she does have the stomach issues, worried about going out and where to go to the bathroom, even on her bike rides, and she bikes a lot, and so there just might have been some pain points that you might have gone, let's just stay here a little bit longer with. So
Right.
But
Awesome.
yeah, I think overall great job. And are we giving points at all, or no?
I can leave that up to you all as to
I'm
what
happy not
would
to
you
leave
all
that
like to have, like an actual like pseudo number, or how comfortable are you all with that? Or would you rather to make it more game like, or would you rather it be feedback that we're providing micro distinctions to get better?
I just forgot to give a score because it was just one of those things. If we're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right.
I don't mind. You can give a score if you like. I really appreciate the feedback. And my one piece of feedback is that the clock ticking and being aware of that was really hard to then zone in on. Yeah. But it is a very good reminder that something I know I need to work on. So
yeah. No, I would give you an 8.5.
Yeah. And I was thinking 8.3. So very cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. All right, Melissa, who do you want to nominate to go next?
You're muted.
Oh.
But to answer your question, by the way, Karen, I usually ask these questions when I was working as a nurse to other people. So it was just interesting being on the other side.
And Leva, how did you, before we move on real quickly, how did you feel as the potential client?
I think she did really good, and it's really interesting that was the topic that she brought up, because I literally just started taking probiotic supplements because I went back to dairy. Like, this is actually my problem, and I love dairy so much, but really it's not good for you. It's not good for me. So I think she did really well. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Allison, I'm going to ping you just for a second. Did you feel the like already knowing what the problem was going to be, because you have the intuitive ability that I think Melissa may have tapped into that?
Know everything. I knew the score was going to be 8.5, 8.3. I just no. No, I didn't.
See,
but you're lovely, Ben. That was super interesting. So thank you.
We're already seeing each other's superpowers come out. It's awesome.
That is awesome. And Leva, I didn't know if you were trying to make it up or if it was real. So I just thought you did a great job.
Well, it was both. It was partial. Like, I don't need bathrooms. My friends joke that I should write a book about all the highways that I've used as bathrooms along my life.
I can vouch for that.
And before I forget, also, Fernando, are you on? Is there anything to add that I missed? Oh.
No, absolutely. Incredible. Great job driving. If I may, chime in briefly. First of all, just amazing conversation. I've never heard anyone talk about bowel movements more in flow than that ever. So shout out to Liba for just like stepping in, like, yeah, you know, it's like flowing. And in my head, it was like, is it like a little river? Is it like Niagara Falls? I'm like, for fun energy, I was just like curious and fun. So what I would say, you know, in that conversation, first of all, Melissa, amazing job being congruent like that. Like, no one's ever asked you that question besides like my doctor when I was a kid. So for you to lean into that as beautifully, as elegantly as you did, incredible. What I may suggest is what I just stepped into is the variance of your energies. Your question mastery was incredible. Your flow was spot on. Your congruence was beautiful. Varying, like a little fun or like a little seriousness or like, wow, what is that for you? And like love would make that even more influential. It's the difference between 8.5 and a 9.5. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
So just real quickly, who is Fernando, right? Some of you are wondering who Fernando is. So he's one of the co-founders of the Unblinded movement. And he brings an incredible background that I'm sure we will hear some of his mastery come out in his comments that just we can all learn from as well. So thanks for stepping in and giving us those micro distinctions, Fernando. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And Tiffany, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be sharing the energy of this group. I feel the flow. And Tiffany, I would just say my heart is overjoyed and elated on how like you are showing up. So thank you for being this driving.
Thanks, Fernando. All right, Melissa, you get to pick who goes next.
She already knows it. It's going to be Allison.
Right.
Before I go, I do have to say that I have to vouch for Liba's bathroom skills. She was amazing. We were on a hike. And she's like, I need to go to the bathroom. And there was literally like a flushable outdoor toilet, probably like 100 feet away. And next thing I know, I just hear this sound and Liba's just going to the bathroom. And I'm like, that's so awesome because I don't know that I have that ability. So Liba, I admire that about you. And I love this. So Liba, I love you. And all right, so the situation is that we're on real raw role play and you are an amazing individual up to incredible things in the world. And you're struggling with a little bit of confusion on which way to go because you're so awesome at so many things, including triathlons, and you have a nursing degree and you have this heart of gold and this way of just like, I don't know, captivating people's hearts. So but you're like, how can I make the biggest impact on the world? So that's the situation.
Awesome.
And do I just start going, Tiffany? Do you have like a timer or something? Or do I just, how long?
Go ahead and go. Yep, you're good.
Okay.
You got 3 minutes.
So Liba, tell me, what are you most passionate about doing in this world?
At the moment, finding people that have been through, I'm passionate about finding people that have been through trauma, that have been through really hard times in their lives and showing them that it is really simple and easy to be healthy and to utilize their body and their minds to get away from the trauma and that they could choose to live like a healthy lifestyle every day. And it's the small, simple things that they need to do, that they can do, that will help them shift from where they are to like where they want to be or where they don't even know they want to be yet, but they can be.
So you're helping people in trauma to be able to live a healthy lifestyle. I love that. Has there been some trauma in your life? Did you have experience with that?
I have had a lot of experience with trauma in my life and I've had a lot of help with it as well.
That's awesome. So what are you hoping for the people that you work with? What would be your ideal outcome for them?
Ooh, it's a question I've been thinking about for a long time, but ideal outcome would be for them to just, you know, wake up and know that they're going to be okay and be able to like hit the goals and hit the things that they want to do. And not, because a lot of times with trauma, it like stops people dead in their tracks and they get stuck. And so I want to be able to show people that there's another way. And for me, sports has been a part of my life, my whole life. And that's like huge for me. And it's shown me so much what I'm capable in the sports arena and outside of that arena as well.
Yeah, it just got the chills when you said that. I definitely agree that people need that right now. And I know from my experience when I was in high school, I played basketball, it changed my life. And just having this focus or something to focus on other than the trauma. So I can definitely see that you could be a powerful person in their lives to help them. But let me ask you this. It seems like you know what you want to do and how you want to do it. So what's holding you back? Why aren't you doing it yet?
I just don't know. I know A and I know like C, but I don't know how to get from A to C. And I'm missing just that one piece of like putting it all together, kind of.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sorry if I'm smiling, but I get excited to hear that because I know that you have the answers within you and that you can get from A to C and that you have a big mission on this earth. And I can envision those people that have been through trauma like you have being able to make an impact on the world. Like I know that you're making an impact on the world. And I would love to, and this is for realsy, I would love to just hop on the phone with you this week, Leva. Oh, I love you.
My Band-Aid say, love yourself and believe in yourself.
I would love to hop on the phone and let's just talk about how you can get from A to C, because I know you and I know your heart and I love you and it's time. Like those people out there need you.
I would love to get on the phone with you, Allison.
Awesome. So yeah, yay, love it. Love the incredible energy that's in here. Leva, how did that make you feel?
I love Allison, but it really made me feel like it's something that's going to happen, that it's not just like an idea I have, but that it could actually happen.
And I want you to know, I watched, well, I heard about it. I watched a little bit of it. This girl ran up a ski slope, like up the whole ski slope. So I know that she can do anything she puts her mind to. So.
Yeah, that was a little crazy. Wouldn't suggest it.
And it might be a little unfair because they already knew each other from a while back. So just like it's a little unfair for me with some of you because I've known, like Lachey, I've known for, I think it's 13 years now. I was trying to calculate that earlier. Yeah, 13 years. So, but that just means that we are in great practice with each other that don't know each other too. So
I tried not to use any unfair advantages. I tried to only bring in the bits that Leva had already shared with us. Right, I've known her for a while. So.
Yeah, no, awesome. All right. Karen, would you like to give some feedback?
Sure. Well, great job. I think you were totally into goddess energy and really picking up Leva's access points, her pain points. And when you gave her what her, what the avatar is, I thought, how is Allison gonna pull this together? It was very nebulous description, I thought, and I think you did pull it together and went into zone action with, getting into the trauma, focusing on that. And I know it's crazy clock time, but just to share, because I guess I can as a judge, but there's a point where Leva actually shared, that she's had, a lot of trauma in her life, and you actually said that's awesome. And and again, I know it's so candid and crazy, and I'm sure you totally overcame that by pulling it back in with agreement formation and connecting with her. You were really coming from your heart, and I felt like you were connecting with her heart as well.
That's really good feedback. Sometimes I get excited when I hear things like that because I know it's going to help them, but they don't always know that. So that's a really great awareness. Thank you so much.
I know, it's like awesome. I work with people with trauma. That's it's like that kind of enthusiasm.
And people are like, "That's awesome. Why do you think that's awesome?"
Right. Perfect. Yeah, it's great. 8.8.
Awesome. So Grace had to hop off for another meeting, so hopefully we'll be able to pop her back on. But I can also tell you a little bit about Foster Together if anybody's interested in that, just because I'm involved with them in my real life. And before Fernando hops off, because he's about to lose some connection, I believe, I figure we'll have him hop on, and then Joe, you can give your feedback after Fernando.
Awesome. Well, thank you, team. No surprise here that Allison did a rather spectacular job. Does anyone sense, or better said, feel like just the flow that Allison, brings to the table. Her emotional and energetic transference is so beautiful. And, I know for all of you, this might be a new language. We talk about the energy, Zeus, aspiration, God is fun. When we say Zeus, people think like loud, confrontation, like, battle. Like Allison was in her Zeus, and she was asking direct questions and looking for precision and precision. And I want to highlight that for everyone, especially as we've had the pleasure to work with very beautiful, fine, powerful women. Like Allison's ability to step into her Zeus energy, with Zeus is to the side, like this is that, this is not this. It's gravitational. So overall, amazing job, Allison. Thank you for displaying that for the group.
Oh, thank you, Fernando. I'm blushing over here. You're awesome. I really appreciate your love and your feedback. Thank you.
Awesome. And Joe?
Allison, I loved your questioning. I thought it was just masterful, the way you led her and just went through what was your experience. Oh, Fernando.
Thank you.
Hey, Fernando, can you mute?
I don't think he realizes.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Anyway, just the way you walked her down that path, and then just the way you acknowledged her and what she's been through and pieced it together for her and gave her the validation that you were going to be able to connect those dots for her. It was beautiful. I gave you a 9.5.
Much, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you for the feedback. And it's easy when there's somebody who feels leave us. So thank you.
Yeah.
Right, pick who goes next now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there's so many very beautiful and interesting people on here. Gosh, I feel like Tatiana, I would love for you to go next.
Sure. And am I picking someone to question? Like, am I playing your role? What am I doing?
So basically what you'll do is you will be you,
Okay.
and then Liba will be the person you're trying to get to say yes.
To my services?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yep. Whatever it is you're wanting them to say yes to, another meeting, schedule another appointment, to try something. You can even use the example we were using earlier today if you want to try practicing through that.
Okay. Hi, Liba.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Same here.
Nursing in Manhattan during COVID, my hat goes out to you. Nursing period, my hat goes out to you. But in New York during Corona, hard work.
I give myself credit. I don't know how I did that, honestly. I
don't
like
know how anyone does it. I don't know how any of you do your job on a regular good day. I am so the opposite. I'm on the financial world, anything opposite of nursing, medical, holistic, all that. So, yeah.
It's awesome. We need people like you. We need people like me.
Well, as we mentioned, I'm in the financial planning world, and I would love to offer you a complimentary strategy session. And in that session, we take a look at where you are as to where you want to be financially speaking, and figure out how to get you there.
What is it that you do that you help? Like, how do you help bring them to a place?
So everyone is different, and everyone has different things going on in their financial world. So we take a look at your taxes, your assets, your savings, your debt, and see where it is you are as to where it is you want to be. And with you, you're young. So we'd look, 10 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out, and put together a plan of how to get you there.
That sounds awesome. I don't nothing about finances, and definitely would need to know more information, like more basics, broken down on like what you might need from me or how to put it together in order to be able to like have help to build this plan.
Sure. It typically just starts, honestly, with a conversation just like this, where we just chat. And through that conversation, I uncover some things about you and your finances. And then from there, we figure out what it is we need to put together to get that put together, to get that plan put together.
That's definitely something that
it's not a one size fits all, and everyone's different. So the conversation will be different with every person here, because everyone has something different today, and everyone has different needs at different times in their life. So it's really just starts with a conversation like this, and it's a free flowing, it's about an hour, and we just chat.
Cool. And how long does it take to put together such a plan?
After our initial meeting, depends on the complexity, but most plans get turned around within 2 weeks.
Awesome. I would definitely love to know more about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Liba, how did that make you feel?
So that is not like, with Allison and Melissa, it's more what I'm comfortable with. Finances is not something I'm comfortable with or know a lot about. Like I actually worked in finances. I don't know how that happened, but I still am not comfortable. And so it's something that I definitely like do need. And I know like a lot of other people in the medical world need help with that. And I think it just was a little unclear, like what specific things you would need or like for the phone call in order to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Well, there's nothing we need for the phone call except you. That's actually really the truth. So it really is just a conversation to figure out what the pain points are and what the goals are and what the vision is. And then from the goals and the vision and the pain points is where it all comes from. But nothing can happen before a conversation because you're different than Joe and then Tiffany and then Allison. So it really is just starts with a conversation.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Thank you for what you do.
But yes, the medical world notoriously is lax.
Yeah.
This whole our industry there, it's true. It's true. They're so busy and occupied doing what they're doing. They make the money, but they have no time to properly do anything with it.
It's true. And something I'll just add really quickly, because I didn't know anything about this, and I don't know if I could do anything after the fact, but I was talking to other nurses, and during COVID, we got paid certain amounts of money, but we also got taxed like insane amount. And so my paycheck every week almost matched my taxes, which was insane.
Yes.
Like I paid almost 40% in taxes for like 5 months.
That is insane. And hopefully when you do your taxes in February, you'll get a lot of that back. But yes, those are exemptions and deductions and things we could help with as well.
Yeah, that's a great example of what you could get Liba to say more in that 3 minutes. You just honed in on it in a short period of time. So give yourself that credit for that.
See, that's why it takes that conversation, because I don't know what her pain point is. That's not Allison's pain point. That's not your pain point. That's why it takes this initial conversation. And through that, we uncover what your pain points are, and then we could take it from there. But there's so much in this umbrella. It really is different for everyone. No different than you guys in the medical, in the holistic or homeopathic world. Like someone comes to you, you're not going to give them a prescription. You have no idea what their issues are. You need to spend an hour or two speaking to them, figuring out what their pain points are, right?
Definitely, yes.
So it's the same thing.
Like, yeah, that would have been a great conversation to have before I got all that taxes taken off.
Well, now there's a connection.
Exactly.
Fabulous. I love that. All right, Joe, I know that you've had a chance to meet Tanya a little bit over the last couple of days as well, and trying for all of us to learn more about how to do this in the 3 minutes, which is so hard. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I think you need to focus on who Liba is individually as a person and why she might need financial help first, instead of going right for I mean, she said herself, she has no idea about finances. So coming from the place of being one of those medical professionals who, you know, it's like, I balance my checkbook to the penny, but don't ask me how to invest any of it or do any of that. I don't know. Like, oh, you know, my accountant takes care of that. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. So how, you know, asking her some leading questions about, so yeah, you know, you worked as a nurse during COVID. I thought that was a great opening, right? And, you know, so, and obviously everybody knows like nurses were getting those lump sum payments to go there, to, you know, to have that. And it's really hard when you've got 3 minutes and you're just put on the spot, right? And you're just coming up with a thing. But to dig a little bit deeper on, like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, like where is your financial savvy? Like, you know, like, what do you know, dig a little bit deeper onto like why? Because I mean, for most of us, honestly, outside of the financial world, we have absolutely no idea what you do other
And
than
that's hard
balance our
for-
checkbook.
And I think everyone knows what I do. So
Yeah.
it's clear. I could have also asked about her 403B and what she did with that.
Yeah.
That she
I mean,
left there.
I think everyone knows what finding a root cause solution to your health means, and they go,
Right. I
What?
think you're speaking French.
right. So it's learning what questions to ask to get them, and it's just, you know, being curious about who Liba is as a person in the world and what her relationship to money is, and answering more of those questions.
Thank you.
So
Awesome. Can I actually have Karen come back to yours because Lachey has to go do stuff with her kiddos real quickly. So we'll do a quick role play, Lachey. You need to unmute.
Yes. All right. Again, I think I can go a little bit past 3:30. Okay. So do I need to set the scenario or just dive in?
Just tell Liba who it is, what kind of person you want her to be playing.
Ah, got it. Okay. I think I'm at oh gosh, maybe a health fair, and you've come up to my table, and I gently approach you as you're looking at what's on the table.
Well, gotcha.
Okay. Hello, nice to meet you. What questions do you have about nutrition?
Hi, I just noticed your table and was wondering what it is that you have spread out and what it is that you can offer me.
Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, what I practice is clinical nutrition, and I look to see what are your nutritional deficiencies specifically for your body, and we begin the conversation from there. What challenges what brings you to this point in your life around your health?
I am always trying to up my health and stay on top of it. I do a lot of sports and I work out a lot. And so without the proper nutrition to fuel my body, I am not able to optimize on what I could do. And I don't recently stopped eating a lot of chicken and meat. I don't eat chicken and meat anymore. Went more vegetarian, vegan. And so my biggest problem is getting enough iron in and getting in enough of the protein that normally would come from chicken and meat that's not as readily available in other foods.
Thank you for sharing that. How do you feel now that you don't have chicken and meat in your diet?
I feel amazing. Like I don't get that like stuffed feeling. Yeah, it's been so long that I don't remember fully it's been a good few years since I've had. But I do know that I stopped eating eggs and fish for a while as well. But then I really was craving protein all the time. And so I went back to that.
Thank you for sharing that. When you did have the chicken and meat, did it feel like a brick hitting the bottom of your stomach and you just kind of felt this fullness, this bloatedness?
I definitely felt, like full, and I think it made me tired a lot.
Great. There's one thing that I always make sure my clients have is just the right stomach acids. And so that would begin the conversation, because as you mentioned, nutrition is a controlling factor. And so we can talk more about your nutrition, how your liver is doing, and your blood sugar handling issues that you may have. And if you're open to it, I have an opening this coming Friday at 1 p.m. How does that sound to you?
That sounds amazing. I have a quick question. You mentioned something about blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Correct.
you do for blood sugar?
I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you stay within 100 grams a day with your food plan. Once you go over 100 grams of processed refined carbohydrates, you're triggering your pancreas, your adrenal, and your liver. And so we would have conversations about what your 7-day food plan looks like and begin there.
So I'm going to pretend I'm another person coming up to your booth and like kind of scooting Liba out of the way because I want your attention now. All right, Liba, go ahead and how did that conversation make you feel?
It was good. In the beginning, I felt kind of like, because she's like, I wasn't sure what was on the table. So nutrition is such a broad topic that I was like, where do I go even? It could go so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once you like, I guess I asked questions, you answered some, like honed in more a little bit on what it is specific that you do. That helped it a little bit more. And like the blood sugar was huge. Like for me, that would be something I'm really interested in because I always have low blood sugar and I'm not a diabetic. So, but that's really cool. And I love that.
More to it, but I ran out of time. So
yeah, it's hard. It is so hard. And I love that we're learning from each other and we're getting tips and like, oh, let me try to phrase it that way next time. Oh, I love that. I can see the light bulbs going off for sure around the table. Okay. Karen.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Lachey. I think you engaged Liba, a newbie, someone new at your booth there. I thought you established some heart connection there also, but also bringing in your knowledge. And I feel like you kind of like pulled her in, by asking her questions about what's going on with her diet and what meat does and things like that, like really personalizing it for her. I felt like you were really listening to her as well. Yeah. And I'd give you an 8.1. Yeah.
Thank you.
Joe.
Hey, Lachey, it's so hard. I've been at those things where people just kind of come up and they're looking and what brought you here? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, well, you came here for something, right? Like, you kind of wonder, like, did you just fall out of the sky and you don't know where you are, right? So it's so hard to open up those conversations. But, I think, once again, getting clients is more about connecting with them on some personal level than really talking about what you do. And I try when I'm in those situations, when she said, well, I do sports and I really want to optimize my diet, and because we focus on the symptoms and the things, right? We kind of miss oh, you do sports. Tell me about that. That's so cool. Like, what kind of sports do you do? And trying to connect on more of a personal level, because then you build that emotional rapport, right? Then you guys are connecting on more of a heart-to-heart level instead of this head-to-head level, because anybody can write her up a diet plan. But when you connect with her on that heart-to-heart level, then you're going to get that yes. Then you're going to get that buy-in, and then she's going to be like, oh, I really like Lachey. She cares about me, and I want to talk to her more and find out, how she can help me. So I think your certainty was great and you did all that, but, sticking that, because then it doesn't matter. And then all that other stuff that takes up all that time where you're trying to convince her you know what you're doing. Well, you do. You have a business. You're a nutritionist. You're awesome. And you can just say, I help people with that kind of stuff all the time, and I can make your sports fantastic. I can make you, you know, superwoman. Like, and that's all you have to say about what you do, right? So I gave you a 7.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll say with Lachey too, and this is just where I love these learning opportunities for these micro distinctions, because I've seen her in real life do this, where she has pinpointed exactly the pain point. She heard something in a meeting someone said and went up to them afterwards and was right in on that. In this situation, you know, we're time pressuring you and giving you scenarios of people you've never met before. So it's really hard to build all the rapport and everything going on. But I love how you all are handling this. This is fantastic.
Well, and it's interesting because coming from the medical field, Liba's talking, and I'm like, okay, I'm judging Lachey, not diagnosing Liba. I'm like, oh wait, you have this with what?
How many of us were pseudo doing that at the time too, right? There's probably a couple of us in here that are like, oh, I know something that can help. Okay, so Stacy, that's actually Karen. You still have feedback to go back to Tatiana with hers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So Tatiana, so going into yours with Eva. So there was no avatar created. You worked on, you know, that she was a nurse and, you know, worked in New York with COVID. So, but Liba just picked up on that too and went with that avatar, which she was and is. But I too was waiting for like the big hook, you know, to bring her in on what you do, like how what you do would really benefit her. So, and I felt there's a lot more knowledge rather than maybe some wisdom or, you know, more about the nuts and bolts of because you know everything about what you do, just like in the interim, you know, you were saying it's like, you know, what we do is like French to you, but like I know you you must speak French, you know, because I don't understand the finances either. But it was hard, but you guys, you know, rock and rolled with it, and so I give you a 7.8 for it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I'll point out too is that you're hearing some jargon that's coming out of the business training that some of us are taking. So like the word avatar, for me, I think of the movie, and that is in reality my favorite movie. And so every time I hear the term avatar, even though I've been exposed to it for 6 months now, 7 months now, it's still jarring to me that it doesn't make sense. So really what it is who is your ideal client? Who is the ideal person that you want to work with? And so when Karen said avatar, some of you might be like, what in the world is an avatar? So hopefully I made that a little simpler. I feel like a lot of times my work is translating information so that it's more understandable. So for those of you that haven't been in the unblinded world at all, does that make sense to you? Any other terms that have popped out that I may have missed that you're like, what in the world is that?
Someone mentioned, I think, agreement formation, which is, for those that don't know, just like the part where they say yes, like in otherwise known as a closing, like where you're speaking to someone and trying to get them to say yes to the next meeting or whatever that is, that's known as agreement formation in the unblinded world.
And the other that was super confusing for me that I think Fernando mentioned were these 4 different energies that you can bring into a situation. Zeus, and I used to say I have no Zeus, and now they've kind of gotten me to be like, oh, Zeus isn't like coming at you like this, you know, like, you know, but that's what I used to think it was, because that's how I was seeing it manifesting in other folks. and then it being referred to as Zeus energy. Really, it's trying to have a clear, concise decision point. So like what Melissa was doing, it was really clear what it was she was wanting. Who are we waving to? Oh, Lachey. Thank you, Lachey. Good to see you. Yeah, so the Zeus energy is really like being clear and concise. I'm still working on that.
I think you're doing amazing, Tiffany. Like you're just like honing in on exactly what needs to be done, who needs to say what. You're doing
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tiffany, you are in your Zeus right now compared to what you've been the last 2-3 days since I met you. I've not seen this part of you at all. Right, Joe? Joe, have you seen this Tiffany the last 2-3 days? No, right. This is a very different Tiffany.
She's taking control.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Like I say, it's not teaching, it's facilitating. And so that's what I'm trying to do, and have this be a learning, as much learning for each other as we can, so that we can just propel. And going with where I tend to be is in goddess energy. And it was kind of funny when I was recording something for the foster adopt community for back to school. It was like, we did recorded a commercial, and she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen you like that. And it was kind of the same thing of, I'm a little bit different when I'm in that environment. I was a little goofy, and September will tell you I'm not goofy all that often, because she's known me for a long time and I'm pretty serious most of the time. So, so the goddess energy is like being in that heart, like connecting in that heart center. And we definitely felt that with Allison, and she was able to go back and forth between the Zeus energy of being really clear of like, Liba, this is what I see, this is what I want to go for you, but also being completely heart-centered in knowing how to draw out what it was she was needing. So you could see that very aspirational is, you know, what can you do to help that person see their future in you? And then, why am I blanking on the fourth one? Of course, this happens to me a lot, but
aspiration,
fun.
Fun. Yeah, that's the one that I'm horrible at. Like even worse than Zeus. I can be Zeus with my kiddo pretty well, but the fun, I keep being told I'm not fun. All right, so anyway, I hope that helps with trying to understand when we talk about the 4 energies and Zeus and all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go read Greek mythology to understand what in the world's going on.
That's a great TikTok. Okay.
There we go. All right, Stacy, you haven't had a chance to go yet. Would you like to go?
Sure, I'll go. And then I have to actually really go. I mean, I don't know how long this goes for.
Yeah, I think we all have
Just
time
like
to
another
get to-
15 minutes, but if you need to go, hop off.
No, I have another meeting at 3, Pacific. So anyway, it's with Liba too. Again, she gets to be okay. So Liba, you get to be an insurance agency owner. You own an insurance agency. And we know each other through networking, and I'm approaching you to see if you want to partner with me to add value to your client base with my program.
And what is it you do again?
I'll tell you. Why tell you twice? So I'm calling you, I guess, or I'm doing a Zoom with you. Let's say that. It's like, hey, Liba.
Hey, how are you, Stacy?
Hi. Good to see you again.
Hey, glad
Hey, I remember we didn't get to talk too much in our breakout session, but now we get to have this one-on-one, so that's really cool. And I know we have just limited time, so I wanted to get to the.
I think we lost her.
I'm here.
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah, I got frozen for a sec.
Oh, okay. So it keeps saying my internet's unstable. So my internet's unstable. So we met in a breakout session in one of our networking, and you told me that you have an insurance agency. Do I have it straight?
That is correct. I
Yeah.
have a bunch of agents that work for me.
Great, great. And what kind of insurance do you usually sell? Do you have a specialty, or are you kind of all over the place?
All kinds of insurances, but I like to focus on life insurance as well as we work with homeowners insurance sometimes because they kind of combine. We merge them together.
Great, great. And how many agents do you have working with you?
17.
Nice. All right. Well, I own an agency myself, but I never actually had like a group of people. I had like, I think 2 agents at one time. So never really got to grow my agency. But what I'm doing now, I think you might be interested in because it's a value add. And I say that because I've been a financial advisor for a lot of years. And what I found when I met with people is that most of my clients never got all their stuff together. Like some of them don't even do a will or a trust or anything. And I even had one client, he was, I don't know why, but he wouldn't put a beneficiary on his account for his stock account. Just like didn't do it year after year after year. So have you ever found anybody like that where they just won't get their stuff together?
Yeah, I have a bunch of people that they have life insurance that kind of pays for itself and it's gaining interest because they're not taking care of it.
Yeah, I know. People just get really, really lazy around this stuff. So what I have to offer is really, like I say, it's a value add because it would make you look really good and it'll help your clients become really smart. It's a program I called it Got It Together Now, and it's an online course. And what it does, it helps people like module by module, lesson by lesson, to actually gather together all what they have. So if they did get sick, if they did have an accident, or if they passed away, their family actually has everything at their fingertips, and they've already actually had the conversation. So kind of try to make it fun within as fun as you can make this be by gamifying the program. But what I'd like to do is talk to you. I'm kind of running out of time right now, but would you mind having another conversation around this where maybe we can offer this through your agents to your clientele?
I definitely am open to another conversation, to learning more about how we would work synergistically together.
Great. I really look forward to it because I'm just so excited about it. And I know you will too when I get to show you the whole thing.
Awesome. And I love the name of what you do. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Liba, how did that make you feel?
I don't know why I said I had 17 employees. I know nothing about insurance. So I was like, like life insurance and like house insurance go together. But it was cool. It's for a second, it gave me like this really authoritative like position, which I've never really had. So, but I think that's a really cool idea to merge with people like that. Cause I do know, like when I was talking with, what's her name? Tatiana, like finances, insurance, that goes along the same line. It's like the other category. Yeah. For me, I don't deal with a lot, but I think you spend also, I guess I could let the judges do it, but I think it was more, I didn't feel so much like why you would be great for like how we could connect so much that it would be beneficial for both of us, how you were explaining it, but I also don't know much about insurance.
Joe, you want to go?
Sure. Stacy, I love that idea because, I know there's probably a lot of us that are just lazy about that kind of stuff. So I think getting a little bit into asking about, sharing just a little bit about how this was your experience, that people were disorganized around this thing, and digging a little bit more into how in her agency, like the pain points around that. Maybe I'm not exactly sure because it's not my area of expertise either, but maybe asking, how do you find your clients? Do you find that they're really organized around their insurance needs? Do they know what they need? How are they you know, that kind of stuff, and maybe digging into, you know, finding that connect then, so that you can then really come alongside and go, hey, I can make your life easier because I have a way that I can help your clients be more ideal for you, kind of deal. That might be a little bit of a access point for you. But just once again, getting in and asking more questions about who Liba is as this business owner and what her needs are. I mean, because you know that what you have can help anyone, right? I mean, because chances are we're all disorganized around that stuff. We don't want to think about getting ill and not being able to provide for our families and death and all that stuff. We don't want to think about it. So, yeah. So that's my feedback. Just digging a little bit deeper on that emotional level and creating that bond and finding that pain point first. Having them say it instead of you telling them. You know, how do you ask the right questions to get them to say they need you?
Good feedback. Thanks, Joe. Karen, do you have any other feedback?
Well, I thought you had some great inflections. You're I thought establishing good rapport, emotional rapport, and I liked how you pulled together like some sob stories, you know, hard things, you know, some of your challenging clients. But like Joe said, yeah, to hook Liba into that. I would have liked to see more hooking. But you did go into some agreement formation, you know, in terms of, you know, trying to get her, you know, to make a connection again. And she seemed, you know, she's a great role player, but she seemed pretty interested.
I thought so.
Yeah. No,
she left the door open for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that feedback. Stacy, how did that experience feel for you? Because I know that we are like pushing boundaries of things that you've never tried before.
I just felt kind of natural. I mean, this is the same conversation I have a lot. So I was going back and forth as to what I wanted to do because there's so many different conversations. But getting people to partner that have the right clientele is really my focus on the in the JV world, the joint venture. Yeah.
So I'll just put this seed out there. Anyone who had other scenarios that you want to try out in this kind of format, let's do it. Let's do it. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
If there are other folks that you think would benefit from this type of structure, this type of format, you know, let's do it. Awesome. All right. Last but not least, September. You ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it. All right, Liba. So basically the background is I'm trying to get sponsors for my podcast for the fertility conference. So you are a practitioner who works in the field of infertility and is interested in being a guest on the podcast. So I'm trying to get you to also be a sponsor.
So to be a guest and a sponsor.
You are interested in being a guest, like you came to me.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And so I'm saying, hey, you're going to be a guest, be a sponsor too. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Hi, Liba. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your interest in being a guest on the podcast. I really do appreciate that. We really work hard to pull together like the top tier practitioners who have anything to do with infertility. The mission of the podcast and the conference itself is to pull together practitioners from all different facets and aspects of infertility. So we really try to reach the medical doctors, you know, the fertility clinics, and then we also try to reach more functional medicine doctors and holistic practitioners, chiropractors, acupuncturists, aromatherapists, basically everybody, to bring everybody together, to partner together, and to really help these couples move along in their fertility journey as quickly as possible. We need support. And so we are asking our guests to also be supporters. There's a few different ways that we request that support. One thing is we do require a commitment from anybody who comes on, and this is part of the application when you fill out the application to be a guest, that you do agree that after we publish your episode that you are going to push it out to your social media, your email list, all of those kinds of things. So that is a requirement. Our commitment to you is that you will get 9 posts of social media for your podcast episode across each of our social media platforms over a 6-month period. So once it's released, you're going to get 9 posts on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by the clock. Got not look. So that's our commitment to you. So it will be pushed out a lot for you. Like I said, we do need support. That's the biggest thing, is that it does cost money to produce and run a podcast. So, so we do look for that support. I have a sponsorship packet that I can send to you. Basically, it depends on the length of your ad. Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can support us. You can just simply be a monthly supporter, and any denomination that you choose, or you can do ads on our podcast. And I can send you a packet that we have already put together to show you what the cost of advertising on the podcast is. Is that something that you are interested in? Would you like me to send you that packet?
I would definitely love to. Yes, I would love the packet. I love that you push out the podcast, as this helps yourself and it helps me grow my business as well. And I think that that's a really great thing that you guys do. And I would love to be able to help and support you, because you're helping and supporting so many other people as well in this journey.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. So I will send you the packet, and then and also a link to be a supporter, and we can go from there.
Cool. Thanks.
Right on time. All right, Liba, how did that feel for you?
That was, it was just like a lot at once. I felt like I didn't have a chance to speak at all in the beginning. And I think it's like hard to pay attention for so long. I know like 2 minutes is not a long time, but when it's just like a lot of talk, maybe just to I felt like I just needed like a 5-second break in between that, just to and I process things really quickly. So I processed it, but it was just I don't know, I'm missing the word, but overall, I think it was really cool. It was really good. I love what you do. And I think the fact that you help them grow their business, when you're asking them to help you, it's like you're asking for something and you're also giving them something in the same sentence, which is really powerful.
Thank you. That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know why someone would say no to sponsoring your podcast.
So one thing that jumped out at me there was seeing how you already are adding value to that person by having them on your podcast, and maybe ask them what the value to them is. And that could lead into stepping into, bye Stacy, we'll follow up, will lead into figuring out, what it is that she's valuing, and that might help you get an easier yes, because they've already told you that it's valuable to be on your podcast, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Karen, you want to give some final feedback?
Yeah, I agree. Your response to, try and ascertain what Liba's points were, or what her connection maybe with infertility is, what value she might add to your speaker forum, for that. So, but yeah, it sounds like a great program, but it felt, more one-sided, and I was looking for that connection to, really bring her in and say, yeah, she's interested in it, but like she really needs to get interested in it. So, yeah.
Joe?
Sorry, my daughter started singing being wildly in the middle of it, so I missed like the middle part of what you said, September. I caught the beginning and I caught the end, so I apologize. But you know, one of those access points, you guys already, everyone on your podcast, I'm assuming, already has the same mission, right? You're all centered around infertility in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So focused on infertility, get into a conversation with, you know, Liba as to why she's chosen infertility as her focus. That would give you that connection and that, you know, that hook to hang, you know, well, that's wonderful, and you've done so much, and you know, I want to elevate you, and I would, you know, in return, I'd like to offer you this opportunity to give back to this cause, you know, and that way you're not really asking for something as much as you're offering them another way to impact your mutual mission.
Great feedback. I appreciate that. It gives us lots to think about. And I want to be integrous to your all's time, and notice that we are a minute over, but I am so appreciative. Again, you all rock stars with the timing. That's awesome. And I will follow up with each of you and figure out how we can continue and move this forward. And again, if you want to do one like this, just let me know. Let's do it. And have a great afternoon, evening.
Awesome. Thanks
Bye.
for being here.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Nice
Thanks,
to meet you guys.
Tiffany. Thanks, Liba, for being an awesome role player.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It was
leave it.
fun.
Have a good night, guys.